Good morning, my friends. Oh my god. My dear friend Letty sent me some incense in the mail, so thank you. I wanted to light them with you guys. So, aren't you just the luckiest duck on the lake? Alright, these are beautiful. And I closed my eyes and picked which ones I wanted to get. Or not get, but in the little set. And I picked pyramids. My glasses are going to bother me. I'm in the process of getting new ones. So you just work with what you have. Am I right? Okay. Okay, my friends. So please, gather. Get your water. Get your pen and paper. And let the purge commence. I'm just joking. Today, we're going to talk about something a little interesting. And the reason why I ask you to take notes is one, because the teacher frickin' says so. But it's because I didn't think this was something that was even worth the time to research. I thought I understand. Oh my gosh. I thought, yeah, take notes for me. All right. I thought I understood what the comfort zone was, what it had to do with, and bada bing, bada boom, that was it. Little did I know, just like everything, like yin and yang, there is the lightness to something and then there's the darkness to something. You know, the positive and the negative. And I feel like because we don't necessarily sit down and think about the fact that a lot of things in our life can carry negative aspects. It can be negative, harness negative energy, however you want to put it. We don't think about that. And that's why I was with the comfort zone. So at first I sat down and I went to Google. But then I think the first article or two I read completely shut me down. Not necessarily because of the fact that it didn't make sense or the information that they had to offer wasn't valuable. It didn't answer my question. And then the next article I went to, it didn't answer my question. It didn't really get too deep into how the comfort zone is dangerous. So I went to Google Images and I looked at the diagrams Google had to offer. And that's where I was kind of like, okay, all right, I get it. This is way deeper than I thought. So this is part 1. I'm really excited for part 2. So please stick with me. Usually I can read a book and understand a new concept or theory so well that I am able to take a couple notes down and make a video on it. But with this, I just was not able to grasp anything that I was reading. So I wanted to kind of go back and kick it the old school way and write down some notes. So I wanted to start with some definitions. So let's define comfort zone. So for a second, I just want you to think about what is the comfort zone. I wrote it down. So maybe on your little notepad, write down number 1, definitions. What is your definition of the comfort zone? The birds are singing, waiting for you to write down. Don't be awkward and just make it seem like I'm talking to myself. Write it down. But hey, if you're busy or driving, like, I get it. If you're not, you're really like, dude, I'm listening to this in a podcast form. Why are you getting hostile? I will calm down. Maybe this pyramid incense is taking me somewhere I shouldn't go. Just joking. Okay, so now that you wrote down your definition of the comfort zone, I want to share my definition that I wrote down. The comfort zone. Something that is no longer challenging. When I finished kind of my researching / thinking, / writing my thoughts down about, the comfort zone, I realized how small my definition was and how wrong it was. It's not necessarily the fact that it was wrong, it just lacked a whole bunch of just meat. It didn't have anything with it to kind of explain itself or back itself up. So I went on to Google and I asked Google what was their opinion of what the comfort zone is. And they popped out a place or a situation where one feels safe or at ease without stress. And I don't know about you and, what your definition may be, but I thought to myself, okay, that adds on a little bit more to what the comfort zone is. After hearing that and still reading this, I was like, okay, well, why is that negative? A place or situation where one feels safe or at ease without stress. And I was like, oh, okay, that can become negative when we become habitual with being in the comfort zone, when that's all we know how to do. We feel stuck inside of the comfort zone. I go, well, hey, what if being in the comfort zone and realizing we're in the comfort zone is what causes the stress itself? So I'm like, holy moly, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the comfort zone. I started thinking to myself, what happens when we decide we want to step outside of our comfort zone? Well, there's a lot of levels that we aren't prepared for. And this is where I want to share this diagram. So when we find ourselves inside of the comfort zone, we feel safe and in control, okay? We want to step outside and we're not really prepared for this fear zone, okay? That makes sense, regardless of the diagram. Whenever I want to step outside of my comfort zone, say that's even me wanting to make a new YouTube video. I'm in a comfort place where I'm just in my room, chilling, I feel in control. I want to turn on the camera and all of a sudden, a lot of stuff hits me in the face, all right? I'm really scared of the opinions of others, all right? I kind of feel a little bit out of control. All of a sudden, my self-confidence kind of starts lacking a little bit. So what do I want to do? I personally would love to actually just turn off the camera, go back into my comfort zone, and just go on about my day. Like, my comfort zone is out in my garden, and it's because I feel like I'm in control. If I see a bug, I can squish it. If I see a plant that needs watering, I can water it and I can help it grow. I can nourish my garden. I've understood the power of a seed. That's comforting to me. But where is my progression elsewhere, Why is it okay for me to tend to my garden but then not tend to the own in my head still? To not tend to the room around me? To not step outside of my comfort zone that just lies inside of the garden and maybe potentially create other comfort zones that I can learn from, because if you think about it, if I'm scared to step outside of my garden and come into my room and make a YouTube video, but then I decide to do that, and I get back into the habit of making YouTube videos religiously and consistently. And when I say that, I more so mean where I no longer necessarily have to write down notes. I'm getting so well at speaking to the camera that my confidence level has boosted up so much, really nothing can tear me down. If I decide that I never want to experience that, I'm not progressing. I can go back to my garden, but if I step outside into this fear zone, that fear zone can now become a learning zone where I feel like I am right now. I'm dealing with challenges and problems, which is as silly as it sounds, talking to you guys. I took the notes, I did all the research, I know what I want to say, but me getting into that fear zone, it's almost like a wormhole, and my mind just starts spinning and buzzing, and I feel like that's what's happening to us. It's not necessarily the dangers of us being inside of the fear zone where we feel safe and in control, because we need that. We need a comfort zone somewhere. Some of us, that's like a car. Some of us, that's a place in the woods. Maybe that's being with a best friend or a dog or traveling somewhere, just your own room, your bathroom. I could go on and on. You have to have a comfort zone, but it's realizing when that comfort zone starts taking control of our life and we no longer are forwarding and progressing and educating ourselves or, gaining new insights, finding new ways to think or perceive. We just want to stay in the comfort zone, and I promise you guys, I could live in there. I could. It's addictive. The comfort zone is somewhere that, why wouldn't you want to be there? And when you're there, why would you want to leave? But we want to leave because we need to get to the growth zone. So I honestly think when I took into perspective how growth can't happen necessarily to the level it needs to while being in a comfort zone. And still, even talking to you guys right now, this is making me, understand how deep this whole aspect is. Like, the comfort zone is literally, a part of our life. It's our core being. I really want to make a part 2 to this because I did something that also opened my eyes, and that I know it will help open your eyes, but I don't want to go into it today because I don't want to go off topic. But think about it, you guys. Extending your comfort zone is what will continue to help us grow. We've talked about the comfort zone a million times, you know? We've talked about having anxiety and how anxiety can honestly just stem from us having such a small comfort zone that when we step out of it, we're in the fear zone. And that fear zone, you guys, it's almost like a magnet that's opposite. And you're just like, I want to go so bad. I want to go so bad. But that voice in your head, like it says, it's going to start making up excuses. You'll start being affected by others when you finally shove your excuses to the back. Somebody's like, oh, hey, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, this is exactly why I don't step foot out of my house. You know, or this is exactly why I have fear finding a job because, you know, new situations, being in that fear zone and tiptoeing outside of that fear zone, because it's possible, you guys. We can't grow without stepping outside of that fear zone. We have to exit that fear zone and into the learning zone to even have any growth. And I promise you, I know how scary it can be. I know how scary it can be. But I think sitting here first and understanding, dang, you know, if I'm not progressing, maybe it's because we're just stuck in a comfort zone that we're scared to get out of, or that fear zone is just so big that we don't really know how to push by it. It carries safety, it carries control, it carries routine and consistency. And some of us, that's what we were taught to go by. I personally was taught that routine and day to day and practice and practice and practice, the same thing, like consistency. Consistency is key. But I've never understood that those aspects can contribute to a life in the comfort zone. It's not that that's bad. Having a routine is not bad. That's great. But having a routine to where there's no growth, there's no progression, there's no stepping outside or expanding our comfort zone, that's when it can become negative. That's when I think we need to relearn some of the definitions we've learned about what it means to be consistent, what it means to have a routine, and how to use it to our advantage and not allow it to use us or take control of us. Because I think some of us can agree that although we have routines and although we're consistent, you know, we're still a little stressed. We're still a little like, what the hell? We still feel a little bit out of control. And I think it's because we don't understand how these things work, you know, how the comfort zone works, how routines work, how consistency works. I wanted to spend part 1 jotting down notes and getting a basic understanding of what really is the comfort zone, what contributes to being in a comfort zone, how the comfort zone is just like being inside of a garden. And stepping outside of the garden is really, really scary. There's different zones to just the comfort zone. I wanted to kind of get a basic understanding of that before we dive deeper into the little things, you know, the harder things. I don't mean little, but I mean like the little nitpicky things. I know this may seem like it's ending abruptly, but I really... Part 2 is where it comes in. And the reason why I wanted you to start writing things down is because I want to give you some homework. So if you haven't written anything down yet, or if you felt like you haven't need to, I want you to write something down. Okay? You have this for homework. I want you to make a timeline. It can start from whenever the heck you want it to. It can start from when you were a baby till now. It can be in just this past 6 months. It can be in the past day. I started it, I don't want you to cheat and see mine, but I haven't finished it yet. The reason why I want you to do this so badly is because it is going to open your eyes to something amazing, okay? Something that Google can't tell you, something that a definition can't tell you, and something that I don't want to just be off the bat and tell you because it won't make as much sense if you do not do this. Google didn't tell me to do this. Nothing told me to do this. You know, maybe there wasn't a lot of juice in this video, but this is just the stepping stone to the big screen. Okay, this is the preview to the big screen. I want you to sit down and you need to leave enough space in between each event in case you remember another event where you had to step outside of your comfort zone. I'm not asking you to write a list of all the times you are in a comfort zone or what your comfort zones are. That's not what I'm doing. We're not including that. You might cry making this. You might realize a lot of things while making this. It's not about the comforting things. I want it to be stepping outside of the comfort zone. So for example, just so you kind of get it, my very first one was leaving elementary school, all right? I personally, I don't remember my parents getting a divorce. I don't remember moving into my first house. I don't remember that. So be honest with yourself, okay? Nobody's looking over your shoulder. You're not going to share this with anybody. You know, in my next video, I might share a couple things that are on my timeline of when I had to step outside of my comfort zone. But this is for you. Be honest with yourself. If it's something silly, if it's a secret you've never told anybody, you got to be honest with yourself. Maybe that's the first step to stepping outside of your comfort zone. Don't be scared of your own opinions, okay? You're not sharing it with anybody. This is your homework assignment from me, but I won't read it, okay? But I need you to do it. I need you to do it, or it's just, please, I've never asked you guys to do homework. Please do this. And tomorrow you are literally going to ace it no matter what, just because you did it. It's one of those things where I promise you will ace it just for doing it. If you send me a picture of you just having a pen and paper and writing me leaving my comfort zone timeline, boom, no, your timeline's blank. You just wrote it down. You email me a picture, you message me a picture, you do whatever you want to get me that picture, or say you take a little video or just something. Maybe screenshot the song you were listening to while you made this, or maybe just something along those lines. But I will add those into part 2. Okay? It'll be like the little group project. So those of you who do the homework, you will get featured, all right? You get featured in the homework zone. I'm just joking. Oh my gosh. But I'm serious. Send me something, like, how cool would that be? At least one of you guys, please. I'll put myself doing it and pretend I'm somebody else. I'm just joking. I would never lie to you guys. Stepping outside of your comfort zone timeline. Please get a piece of paper. Write a note down if you need to do it tonight before you go to sleep. That's what I did. I did this before I went to sleep. It is so flippin' important for part 2. You might as well not even watch part 2 if you don't do it. Okay, so anyway, that's it for today. As I mentioned in my last video, if you haven't watched that yet, please watch that. I'm ready to step outside of my comfort zone because I have been in my comfort zone and it has really hurt me. So, look forward to part 2 and like part 3 because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff happening. And you guys really encouraged me because a lot of you guys really asked me to follow forward and talk about this. And with that being said, I've really started, looking into it and researching it. And I realized, okay, this isn't something that's just enough for one video. It's like the seed series. I couldn't just talk about all that stuff in one video. I gotta break it down. So today, just wanted to go over the little definitions, all right? The broad definitions, the gist of the comfort zone and the fear zone, and that's just part 1, okay? Now you're probably like, what the hell do I do with this information? Exactly. You make the stepping outside the comfort zone timeline, and it'll start making sense. I threw a puzzle at you, but I'm still holding some of the pieces. So put together what I gave you. Please do the homework. And tomorrow you'll literally wake up and be like, oh wait, now this picture is bigger than I even thought, and I put this little mini puzzle together. So Sarah, give me the rest of the pieces. And I will. But you gotta do this first. So I will see you tomorrow. Please make your stepping outside of the comfort zone timeline. And yeah, don't let anything rush in my love. See you later, alligator.